You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Friday, February 13th. I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know. Let's get to our top story today. Protesters and journalists involved in a controversial protest inside a church are in court this afternoon. You'll remember the church protest, which led to the arrest of protesters and even some journalists there documenting the scene. Protesters say they targeted City's Church. That's where a pastor also serves as a leader of a local ICE field office. Among those arrested is former CNN anchor Don Lemon. He pleaded not guilty to both of his federal charges today. Lemon is just part of the group that appeared in front of a judge. Other protesters, like Nikema Levy-Armstrong, who is the former Twin Cities NAACP president, and St. Paul School Board member Chantil Louisa Allen, are also expected to be arraigned today. Journalist Georgia Fort's arraignment is set for Tuesday the 17th. Adam Duxter is in the courtroom. He'll have more for you tonight on WCCO TV. Number 2, today, dozens of restaurant workers and owners responded to the announcement that the ICE surge is ending. They held a press conference and rally in downtown Minneapolis to talk about how the federal operation has impacted their business and livelihood. John Lauritsen was there and says the group had 5 demands.
They call these the 5 demands of 86 ICE. And of course, in the hospitality industry, 86 means to kick somebody out of a bar or restaurant. Now, the Restaurant Opportunity Center and CTUL, a worker-led organization, held the press conference this morning outside Hospitality Minnesota headquarters in downtown Minneapolis. They want Hospitality Minnesota to respond to their 86 ICE demands post-surge. Some of those demands include plans to ensure workplace safety, denying entry to ICE and restaurants without a valid judicial warrant, and welcoming back employees without issue who have been too scared to come to work.
As a restaurant owner, I can only say that I cannot have a business if my staff doesn't show up. Without my staff, without any restaurant staff, owners have nothing.
It is necessary that we demand workplace protections now, because when we demand what we want, we will get it.
And the group says they've sent about 2,000 letters to Hospitality Minnesota about their 86 ICE demands, but have not heard back. This announcement is twofold, really. It comes post-surge potentially here with the surge ending, but also Valentine's Day weekend is considered in this industry to be the busiest weekend in downtown Minneapolis for bars and restaurants.
Number 3, today, Hennepin County Sheriff Dawana Witt spoke about the end of Operation Metro Surge. Listen to her opening statement.
Yesterday, Board Czar Tom Homan announced the end of Operation Metro Surge. That news comes as a significant relief, not only for the community we serve, but also for my office. I also understand that for some, this comes with a new sense of anxiety, as the trust has been eroded. It's difficult for some people to believe that this is really going to happen. And while the operation may be ending, the impact is not, and we understand that.
WCCO's Connor White was also at that press conference. Connor says there's been mixed messaging between state and federal leaders on how ICE and local jails work together. Here's his update.
White House Border Czar Tom Homan calls it unprecedented cooperation between ICE and local jails in Minnesota, crediting that as one of the reasons Operation Metro Surge in name was able to end when it did. Hennepin County Sheriff Dawana Witt says that nothing has changed about the way that her jail and her deputies operate from the beginning of Operation Metro Surge to where we are now. Again, clarifying that under both state and federal law, her deputies are not doing immigration enforcement, and they cannot hold an immigrant in the county jail longer than their court case allows them to do. She says that she will continue to be upholding the law, looking to rebuild trust with the community that she says has been broken thanks to the way that ICE has been operating locally.
Your 4th thing to know today, ahead of Minnesota's legislative session that begins on Tuesday, more than 1,000 mental health professionals, educators, and community members want gun violence prevention to be on that agenda. Today at the state capitol, mental health professionals and survivors of gun violence called on local lawmakers. They want them to take meaningful legislative action to prevent further harm and to fund mental health services. One of the speakers at the Capitol was a mom whose daughter was at Annunciation School during last summer's mass shooting.
My daughter goes to therapy weekly, but to this day she has been unable to talk about August 27th.
Mental health professionals across the state say they are seeing increased anxiety, burnout, and fear in the communities they serve. Those are your 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our weekend warm-up.
Happy Friday, guys. Thanks for the meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in with this warm forecast as we head through this evening and into tonight. Like last night, we're not going to fall that far. Temperatures will drop through the 30s and we'll be right around 30 as we kick off our Saturday morning. A couple passing clouds. That's it, though. High pressure still in control for tomorrow. There might be a couple of pockets of dense fog across northern Minnesota once again, but otherwise still lots of sunshine, near record high temperatures, right around 50 tomorrow afternoon. It is a top 10 weather day. Celebrate that before we have a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, but still mild for Sunday as we wrap up the weekend with highs in the upper 40s.
And now, here's more to know.
Case dismissed for the 2 men tied to an ICE shooting in North Minneapolis. You'll remember that federal agents said they were under attack last month when the shooting happened. But now court documents show that story doesn't add up. A federal judge dropped the case with prejudice. That means it cannot be recharged. The feds have said the agent involved was chasing Alfredo Alejandro Alhorna. That's when the 2 wrestled on the ground. And the feds also say Julio Cesar Sosa Solis intervened with a broom, and then both men used brooms and a shovel to attack the officer. Court records don't indicate what evidence contradicted the agent's account of what happened, but we know there is a cell phone video from the moments after the shooting. That's where a woman appears to tell a 911 operator her husband was chased by ICE agents before he reached his home, and that's when he was shot in front of his family. In a statement, the attorney for Sosa Solis says Julio, Alfredo, and their families are overjoyed at this news. The attorney added that the charges against them were based on lies by an ICE agent who recklessly shot into their home through a closed door. We have reached out to the Department of Justice for comment and have not yet heard back. In our nation's capital, a partial government shutdown looms as the White House and Senate Democrats remain at odds over funding for ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. Senate Democrats say they won't fund the Department of Homeland Security unless there are changes to ICE. Those changes include things like restricting agents from wearing masks and tightening rules around warrants. Here's what President Donald Trump had to say.
They want our law enforcement to be totally vulnerable and put them in a lot of danger. They have some things that are really very hard to approve.
Congress has until midnight to pass a funding bill, but lawmakers have already left town for a week-long recess. Agencies impacted by a partial DHS shutdown would include FEMA, TSA, and the Coast Guard, whose employees would be expected to work without pay again. As Minnesota makes national headlines and eyes are on the news constantly, there still needs to be a space for your local and community stories. In Carver County, that space was missing, so a group of volunteers is now writing their own story. We know newspapers across the country are closing at alarming rates. Nearly 2 years ago, Southwest News Media shuttered, stopping production of 9 local papers. Community members in the area felt the loss so much they now launched their own digital platform. The group of volunteers are covering local news and happenings in Carver, Chaska, Victoria, and Chanhassen. It's a nonprofit called, quote, Carver County Local News. Jeff Holmquist is their content editor.
The community response has been great. A lot of people were very upset when the newspaper shut down here and in Chanhassen and in Shakopee, all at the same time. And there was basically a news desert in this part of the metro area.
Barrett Leone covered this story for WCCO, and you can watch her entire story in our uplifting Sunday morning show this Sunday at 7 a.m. If you're driving through the Twin Cities this weekend, be aware that part of I-94 will be closed in both directions again. It was also closed part of last weekend, but they couldn't get the huge bridge beams in place, so they'll try again this weekend. 94 will be closed between highways 61 and 52. That begins tonight at 10. The interstate reopens on Sunday evening. Well, spring, it seems like just around the corner, right? The Minnesota Golf Show back in town. It's happening today through Sunday at the Minneapolis Convention Center. If you're looking for golf items, you can find gear, gadgets, gifts, whatever you need. There's something for everyone. Also, plenty of learning opportunities from the pros. That's what I need. So if you're just starting out, it's the place to be. Golf can honestly feel like you're just starting out, even if you've played for decades like I have. Tickets, just $15. Kids 17 and under are free. And speaking of golf, this warm weather we've been having, recently a sign that you should break out the clubs. Over in Coon Rapids, Bunker Hills Golf Club opening today. It's just their driving range, but not too bad if you're looking to get out for Valentine's Day. I'd go if the Bev cart was roaming around. I don't think the driving range is pulling me so far. February 13th. Maybe if they get that Bev cart warmed up, though, I'll keep an eye on that. Let's talk sports. U of M football coach PJ Fleck will row the boat straight to the bank. His contract was revised with a brand new bonus. Fleck's contract now includes a $700,000 annual bonus. It makes him the 10th highest paid head coach in the 18-team Big Ten Conference. That's according to the university. Now, his new salary, and it's in his 10th year now. Man, has time flown. A whopping $7.9 million. The contract adjustment also gives Fleck more favorable incentives. Take a listen. $150,000 for winning 5 conference games, $300,000 for 6, $750K for winning 7 or more. So certainly an incentive for PJ to win. Whether he does that or not, I'm not fully convinced yet. But hey, he's making dough. I mean, got to respect it. Team USA women's hockey plays in the quarterfinals this afternoon against Italy. That should be a good one. Hopefully they can keep playing well. They've just been dominating the competition so far. Men's team back in action tomorrow against Denmark.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
This is my favorite story today, and it just makes you think of the sweet sunshine. Next winter, getting to Hawaii from MSP will be easier. Yeah, Delta announced today it will launch brand new nonstop service between MSP and Maui. The route will operate daily during peak holiday and spring break periods. These new direct flights start December 19th, right in time for a lot of your Christmas holidays. Oh man, Hawaii sounds great. Been there one time. We had to go through LAX. And Hawaii is so beautiful, but getting there is always a pain. So now a direct flight, are you kidding me? I mean, sounds amazing. Maybe some Mai Tais we can get for Delta too. Bring those on the ride. Thanks for listening. I'm Johnny Connor. This has been 4 Things to Know. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Thanks again for listening this week. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy that sunshine.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.